I some prophetic direction in this season. I felt an urgency to give you this message because even though I've known this for years, I've been talking to some people in the last 2 weeks, and they're like, Kathy, the thing that I was free from is attacking me again. I'm getting repeated attacks in an area I thought I had freedom. The enemy is just coming after me. The same thoughts are coming after me again. And so I want to give you this warning, and I want to tell you how to pray against these attacks. For those of you that have followed me for a while, you know that I've talked about familiar spirits, and familiar spirits keep causing the same things to happen to you repeatedly, time and time again. I want you to look at the season that we're in. We're in the Christmas season. Now, we know Jesus wasn't born on December 25th. He wasn't born at this time of year. He was probably born in the spring. But still, as Christians, we're celebrating Christmas, Jesus. It's an important time of year why people get together with their family and friends, but also it's a time of year that the enemy attacks. First of all, what we have to look at is just about 6 weeks ago, we had Halloween. So October 31st was Halloween. The witches, the warlocks, the Satanists are all throwing their curses. Their curses don't just trigger to go off on Halloween or the day after. Some of them have timestamps and just different triggers and things that are set in the spiritual realm that manifest at different times of the year. But one of the things is the enemy always wants to come and steal, kill, and destroy at a time that is important to you. And for some of you, you love Christmas, you go all out, you're seeing all these families, but now you're getting spiritual warfare attacks. And those attacks can come in all different ways. It can be financial attacks, it can be health attacks, it can be relationship attacks. So, what the enemy likes to do is hit you with the same attack year after year. So, maybe in December for you, it's depression. Depression isn't just a I'm lonely or grieving, it can also be a demonic attack where he wants you depressed so you're not full of joy or you're not celebrating the Lord. And so if you're like, hey, I'm always down this time of year, we got to figure out why. It's not just because we're lonely or have grief. The enemy could be purposely keeping you in a place of bondage or a repeated attack. And so it's important to know. I saw someone actually last week that was attacked with sickness. And last year during Christmas, they were attacked with a relational problem. And so the relational problem was when in one of their immediate families, and they actually ended up not celebrating Christmas. The attack was that bad, big mess. Okay. So now this year they're getting sick. And no, it's not the C word or anything like that. But still, they don't want to take a chance of other people getting sick. And they're trying to be, considerate of their friends and family. So now they're like, you know what? We might not get to celebrate Christmas with our family because this is going through a couple of us. And so, see, this can be a familiar spirit trying to take out their Christmas again. Are you understanding? Put this down in the chat if you're understanding. And while you're putting that in the chat, that this is making sense, hit the share button, guys. Help us get this out because every year this happens. So, one of the things that the enemy would do to me every year is attack relationships. People would all of a sudden betray me, offend me. I remember one year, like 2 days before Christmas, a big eruption happened that I had nothing to do with. A Jezebel came in and got someone to betray me. Okay. And so I was literally in tears on Christmas. I mean, it like ruined my Christmas. But then I went back and I was like, okay, I'm noticing that things are always ruining my Christmas. Well, it makes sense that the enemy wants to attack my Christmas because 5 days before is my birthday. So, see, the enemy doesn't just attack your Christmas, he likes to attack your birthday or anniversary or something around a special time of year. And so you got to know that, friends. You got to know it. We got to do what I call expose the enemy. We got to expose his tactics. And so what I had to do is I had to start praying out audibly before Christmas, before my birthday. I had to bind and restrict familiar spirits from attacking. Bind and restrict familiar spirits from attacking. And a lot of you have my Mind Battles book, and you've heard me talk about that. This is so much full of familiar spirits and mind binding spirits. And so if you have this, get it out now, and in it, there's declarations. There's also helps to help you work through it. Be proactive, guys. Don't wait until the devil attacks. Go and activate against him. But one of the things I was talking about on YouTube and Facebook last night, you can go back and watch that video if you want. But the issue is he attacks us because we don't audibly pray out. We're not praying out to bind and restrict those attacks. And even the person I was talking to last year that had the relational, and then this year they had the sickness, they're like, it's a familiar spirit. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And so now they know to bind and restrict that familiar spirit. So I've had relational problems. And so what I do is probably 6 weeks, 4 weeks before is I start binding and restricting. So I'm like, I bind and I restrict every dissension, every spirit of offense, every spirit of a betrayal. I bind and restrict familiar spirits from activating on times and seasons that are special to me. But you got to do it verbally out loud. And you guys are going to hear me. I'm going to erupt on this subject because I was talking to some people yesterday in email, some of my Facebook friends. I'm like, hey, let me help you with this. And so I was talking to them and they don't pray out loud. And guys, that is why right now I'm selling my book at cost $6.99 to get you empowered to pray out loud. Because if you don't pray out loud, the warfare is going to come after you. And so I am going to be talking about this over and over and over and over again. And that's why the familiar spirits attack. Okay. And so with finances, yeah, sometimes our finances just point blank drain in December because we're spending so much money on presents and parties and new outfits and donations and everything. But sometimes it's a financial attack because then you're doing that and then you get your car broke down and your washing machine has to be replaced. You know what I mean, friends? And so I want you to really think about that. And I want you to think, okay, am I suffering that? So we need to be binding and restricting familiar spirits. And they co-labor with monitoring spirits. And monitoring spirits are like demonic guards that are watching your activities. It knows what makes you fear and what makes you fret and what makes you stress and what makes you worry. And so, guys, we have to be on the offense. So, I want to encourage you right now in this season. I've heard it from my daughter. She's a prophetic friend of mine. I've heard it from some other friends. I saw it even I was having some negative thoughts honestly last week, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, a familiar spirit's after me again." Okay? So I want you guys to grab your anointing oil. I want you to get it. I want you to anoint your mind, anoint your life. Say, I'm consecrated. I'm set apart from God. I'm putting a hedge of protection around me. I'm saying no weapon formed against me is going to prosper. Okay. And then I want you to get out your communion, be taking your communion daily. This is deliverance. This is healing and being like, I am going to fight this thing and I'm going to be active. The issue is we wait until the warfare comes to pray. We got to be offensive. We got to be praying in advance of the warfare. And I'm giving you a prophetic warning. These things are ramped up right now. Don't wait 5 days. Don't wait till Christmas comes to start praying. Get up, get active, pray, speak out loud, pray audibly. Grab this book. Great Christmas gift, guys. $6.99. You can't beat it. Even if you don't want to read the whole thing, go through, highlight the points that you need. And don't forget Mind Battles. For those of you that have Mind Battles, get that out, or you can purchase that on the website too, guys, and get empowered against those familiar spirits. I love you. Do me a favor, share this with a friend.